City. We're an international architecture and design firm based in London. We have a large office here in New York focusing on North American work. We're headquartered in the Hearst Tower just off of Columbus Circle, which is a project we designed for renovation of an existing structure. It's been an enormous success. One of the first towers to go up after 9/11 in the city, moved from the city. And we're looking to emulate that success across town on Park Avenue between 56th and 55th Streets. We have a new office building that's retaining 25% of the existing structure that's already there and integrating that into the outside, which we're excited about. Next.
Sorry. Turn it on.
You put the word as always.
Oh, no, it's frozen actually. Sorry.
Next slide. So we're right in the heart of the central business
We
district.
can take it. Go ahead. I'll take it.
We're in the heart of the town on Park Avenue. It's the first commercial office building to be built on Park Avenue within the last 50 years. And we've done a lot of research into the surrounding context and surrounding landscape. And we're very aware of the kind of modernist legacy that's there in the town. We have the Seagram building, we have Lever House, just down the street from our project. And so we were seeking to kind of relate to that restrained material palette, the simplicity of the detailing, have a very kind of understated and elegant building that will have a timeless quality to it. Nothing that's flashy or stands out or is emblematic of right now, but something that will last. And so, in looking around the existing site, the existing building is built directly out to the property line, whereas our building is pulled in 10 feet to create a more gracious amount of space around the building. There's also kind of a mismatch of different colored concrete on the site now. And our proposal is to kind of unify the entire block from 55th to 56th Street with this stone, which would include sidewalk paving. There are two site walls that we'll show you later on in the presentation, which help to differentiate between levels and grade. And then it's kind of a base skirting around the storefront facade. This is where we're at on Park Avenue. In the surrounding neighborhood, Jim can speak to this more specifically, but there is ample precedent for both granite and other types of stone
That are high quality.
right, high quality materials used both for curbs and for sidewalk paving.
These are the curves here. And you can see that our site, even though it doesn't have it now, we intend to continue the curve going around the site with our basalt table.
So we go to the next. This is a view from the northwest looking out the proposed lobby. There will be a two-story restaurant space to the north with a 3-star Michelin chef that's just signed on with our client. We have the main building entrance in the center, and then a retail space to the south. Our client is hoping that will be a showroom for artwork or for potentially vintage automobiles. So we're going to have obviously a lot of foot traffic just because it's Park Avenue, but we also need to be somewhat of a destination for a wide range of people. So in the very front, this is looking at the main entrance of the building. We have about 25 feet from our storefront facade to the curb, and then about another 18.5 feet from an exterior column enclosure to the curb. This is pretty ample in terms of space. And then on the sides of the building, on the next slide, we have these knee walls, as we call them. And that allows for the first floor of our lobby to be set at a consistent elevation while the grade dips as you go further east. It's not as dramatic here on 55th Street. It's only about 1.5 feet, as you can see here. But on the opposite side of the more dramatic, it's about 5 feet grade difference. So these knee walls help to account for the change in grade. They also help to obscure some mechanical grade that's located behind this on 55th Street. And the intent, again, is just to kind of clad the walls, the paving, and the base of the storefront with the same material, and to maintain that over a long period of time to keep it uniform and clean. So here's a ground floor plan of our building, and this is Park Avenue up top, main entrance to the building lobby, restaurant space, retail space. We have a loading dock and a what we call a car reservoir. We have below grade parking in our building, and so tenants in the building will be able to pull up, get it's much easier to integrate that into a concrete substrate than it is with stone. So from about here on our property line to about midway to 55th Street, that's where we have concrete, and then rapidly the block and around 56th Street would be stone.
And they're all 30 by 60 acres.
So they're fairly large format, acre size. Salt stone has a nice uniform color to it, so I selected it. It's not very much like granite. Granite tends to have a bit more pigment to it, a little more speckled aesthetic to it. This is a little bit more understated and uniform in color. Next slide, is that, I think that's the last slide. So the general intent overall is really to elevate the quality of the pedestrian experience. It's not just about people entering the building, it's about anyone that walks by. It also ground stability of the site, kind of unifies everything in one design. We didn't want a pristinely detailed building to kind of be situated in a field of concrete, so it looked out of place and maybe like a client that wasn't considered.
So have you read our guidelines? I assume you have. And so you're aware that these do not comply with those guidelines? That the project doesn't comply?
There were a few elements, most notably street plantings, that we do not have. Which aspects of your
The distinctive pavement request that you're making is granted on full blocks. And so I just want you to you've just made your case, and it's a strong case. I would put it in the category of good try. But we look at the public realm differently perhaps than you do, which is that plain Jane concrete is in the public realm. And now, commercial districts have a tint and non-commercial districts don't, and historic districts have another slightly different tint. But that at the end of the day, the public is moving in a right-of-way that is owned by the city of New York, it's under their jurisdiction, and that is the zone of circulation, that it doesn't matter what building is next to it, whether it's a rich building or a poor building, or a commercial building or a church, it's the same. And I think that the commission continues to uphold the belief that when we wrote these guidelines, we continue to adhere to them. There are these exceptions. I certainly will open it up to commissioners to comment on your scheme. We have made exceptions without a doubt. So I want to open it up to everyone's opinion, but I do want to say I'm a little bit unclear on those, what you call knee walls. I dare say that's knee high to a giant. But what are those grade changes again? That and my concern about them is that if I wanted, as a lot of people do on Park Avenue, take advantage of any setback to make a diagonal, that you are putting an obstruction in my way, and you are cutting off, you're kind of putting a wall along the sidewalk for no reason that I can understand is justifiable here. What am I missing?
So the elevation across Park Avenue is relatively the same.
Right?
When you get to this point, it starts to drop off dramatically.
There's a staircase right here that goes up about 5 feet.
It's about a 5-foot difference between here and here.
Right, it's all because of the train underneath, right?
Correct.
So that means that we're saying that this is now the same elevation as this, and the wall doesn't extend past this point. So if you're walking, you can just keep walking straight.
Yeah, I
Just
understand.
referring to the diagonal. And you're now just walking uphill, and then the grade kind of levels off here. So by the time the wall stops, you're at the same grade.
Right, but you're putting a wall up between me and your setback building, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and the same thing's true on the other side?
Correct.
Okay, so to me that even further diminishes your argument about because I can see, back in the 70s, city planning had this, allowed a setback building that had a distinctive sidewalk to continue to the curb line. So to make it feel like one big generous kind of public space, and sort of doing the opposite of. And I thought that, that has some merit as a concept. But in this case, you've now walled off your setback. You've got a ton of Con Ed vaults, and you're putting in cement concrete at the loading docks. So, as far as I'm concerned, I'm opposed to the distinctive sidewalk. But
You have privatized the sidewalk by virtue of a number of features, and I think it's questionable.
Well, I would make the following distinction. What I think this sidewalk is really outboard of our property line along 56th and 55th Streets. The reason for that is we have mechanical intakes here that are grading, and we've separated them from the sidewalk intentionally with the wall.
are they yours or are they?
These are ours. The Con Ed vaults we can do very little about because we're using an existing subgrade vault, renovating it, incorporating it in our project. We are reinstalling new grading that meets the ADA requirements there. So you have to. The reality is, this is sidewalk, and where the setback becomes advantageous to pedestrians is really along Park Avenue. So the walls only extend to the face of the building. And here is where the setback provides, I would say, an amenity to the general public along Park Avenue. The site walls are being installed for those reasons, regardless of whether we have concrete sidewalk or stone sidewalk. What our objective is again, to provide a more defined material.
Right, and but I
More
think,
defined.
I think pigmented concrete is pretty defined. Sorry, Nick?
I would, couldn't you also just make steps along that, and rather than meet the knee wall?
You need a barrier to prevent someone from, because of the change in grade, you need a 42-inch high barrier. So that could be glass, it could be one of a number of things.
To prevent them from,
To prevent someone from tripping or falling off of a higher elevation onto the road.
yes, steps.
Correct, we have steps here.
No, but you could have steps up top of the whole.
Well,
side.
we could have steps from.
You would almost run out of room. The steps would go almost right up to the facade. There wouldn't be any room left for a sidewalk.
So this area, at least on the north, is critical to the restaurant space because there will be an entrance for the restaurant here as well as here. So this needed to be on the same level. If we were to provide steps, they could start here and graduate up to that level, but we wouldn't be able to use any of the external space here.
Why?
I'd be surprised that they'd have to do that. I don't know steps to do that. The reason it occurred to me is because around the lot of buildings have that as an alternative. And so I was surprised that your property would be so dramatically different.
They want an outdoor cafe, is that what
There
you're
won't
saying?
be any outdoor seating, there will be an entrance. And by the time we take this distance plus 5 feet for a landing and put it here, we'd almost run out of room. I just don't know if we could fit there.
Oh, I was more saying steps along the whole side. Like what a lot of I was thinking about a good reason to make an argument for it would be if the wall wasn't there and you want to do that, like I do around 51st between Lex and Park, and I cross into the woods. I don't know, it's probably two blocks down. Yeah, just walk up a few steps and then walk through this whatever property line and walk out onto Park Avenue. And I don't feel that issue, but I do think it would be strange, and because we're always thinking about what is this going to feel like in 10 or 20 years, and so walls are always questionable. And I think that's the I think he has a lot more understanding of this part. The paving and how things become landmark, I don't know, but that's a whole other story. But I think the tough one is the concern that the PDC would be allowing people to just basically block off public, with the meaning people's mind should be public property. And then of course on Park Avenue of all places that becomes a bigger problem because
So your wall, let me go back to the wall here, is 42 inches from the high side? Is that how you establish that elevation? So actually doesn't really, it's high. I mean, you showed in your rendering,
Flip back.
yeah, it's that. That is not what I call
Safety.
well, it's not a generous attitude toward public ground.
I guess my point would be, and I'm trying to be contrary, is that is the code minimum height for the given changing grade.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be solid.
It does not have to be solid. It would have to be solid to a point to account for the high point there is.
How is that you use the word apartment, you use the word amenity, the wall would be an amenity for the pedestrians, and I don't see that.
I was referring to the setback along Park Avenue.
Setback.
Park Avenue side.
Yeah.
We want to stress that behind you.
Can I just understand, on the side streets, the building is not built out to the extent that you could have. So you're starting, and so that you have some sidewalk space or exterior space right outside of those. In order that you can keep that level with Park Avenue, Park Avenue sidewalk, you have to raise it as you go down the street. And in order to do that, prevent people falling off and put it in the wall. Right. And you want it at that height. I can certainly see on the restaurant side, you have a side entrance into the restaurant, from the side street. Otherwise, you have to do something fancy and take interior space. Right, I mean, if you had a sloping sidewalk and then enter, I mean, I think that's why you come up with this solution.
That's correct. It's a means of keeping this portion
Right.
at the same elevation as that, and allowing this to slope off, and provide the barrier that we need for a code. This is all as of right and within our property line. And what I think would suggest as an amenity is the setback along Park Avenue. We haven't built out the property line, we pulled the building back. And
And what I understand of our guidelines is it may be some amenity, but it's not really enough of an amenity. Just correct me if I'm wrong to justify a special sidewalk material.
Right, I mean, when we make exceptions, it may be because of the building is a distinctive cultural institution, or because it's an entire sidewalk, excuse me, an entire block. And so it's, as I think Hank said, when we make an exception, it has to be, there has to be some sort of palpable public benefit. And so that's what we're discussing is, and Shinpei, what do you feel?
Yeah, I agree, it's not enough of a benefit to the public to call for the distinctive material. It doesn't have the same public plaza feeling that the other buildings that have received that treatment would have. And I think, particularly around the corners, if there is that, maybe there are structural reasons for having that wall. It just seems like this is a more private building with very controlled public access, and so it doesn't, I don't think it's enough to call for a special treatment. I think it's much more important that pedestrians walking along on all sides of this building feel very comfortable that there's this continuous experience from every aspect of how they're approaching the building versus, entering this a space that's somehow separated by existing special materials.
Especially because of the level of public use of those streets. Personally, I think it looks really, really nice. And if I would be lobbying for us to be able to do it, if there was a way that I feel, I wouldn't feel that would look bad based off the way that it affects the public.
This is completely anecdotal, and Justin and I don't smoke, but I imagine if we worked in this building and did smoke, standing behind this wall, leaning on it, and watching people walk by would be a thing that we might do. And there are ways that a wall can be a piece of infrastructure, something used on a daily basis at Huron.
To your point, how do you block off, or that's glass, is that what you're showing there?
At the end of this class.
The end is glass. All right, well, we need to move on. I don't know, Manuel, did you want to say?
Can you look at the plan view again with the dash lines? So behind, like across the top, behind the or, underneath the dash line, that's, the property of the building. And on the other side is, public sidewalk. And agreeing with what you said earlier, Stephen, is that, that kind of continuity from the, private area to the public area, it does, with this kind of uniform material, I think in a visual sense, it does kind of send the signal that, the private aspect of the building is extended to, the edge of the sidewalk. I would, say that would be a concern for me as well.
Sure. For each one last statement,
Yes.
we appreciate this is not a cultural institution. We don't have a public plaza. We're not trying to put on that. I think our request is to use a more refined material, and that is really committed to the public. Is that this stone would look a lot nicer on a more refined surface than concrete. That's the basis of our.
I appreciate that. All right, we are voting. This is a public meeting. Are we not? Yes. So I would like someone to make a motion, one way or another, either a motion to approve or a motion to reject.
I'll make the motion to reject.
We have a second. Do we have a vote in favor of rejecting? Please raise your hands. So 2, 4, okay, so that carries. If there is some other iteration that you'd like to try, we are always willing to hear. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Good afternoon, my name is Matthew Mueller. I'm the principal of the firm Architect Anew. We're a small husband and wife team in Brooklyn. We're here to present to you the entry alteration that our client has asked us to propose for 207 East 33rd Street. We've gotten initial DOT approval, and we've submitted to the DOB for the alteration, which between the time that we've submitted here to you has been approved. Now you're the last step to moving forward. We need permission for revocable consent for the stairs to the entrance of the building. So we're located in Community District 6. 207 East 33rd Street, which takes us just east of 3rd Avenue and 33rd Street. Our building is one of 7 of a group that are considered or called the Collective. It's a 5-story there's 3 4-story and 5-story multifamily rental buildings that the owner has over time been renovating and trying to bring to kind of more aesthetically and pleasing and cohesive group of buildings, which they've named the Collective. We've been asked to look at the entrance for lot 7207. These are some shots looking down 33rd Street. All the other entrances of the adjacent buildings. This building you can see from here, and the other buildings to the west. And as you notice, our property is the only property that doesn't have a stoop entrance. So to give you, yeah, sure.
It's not a stoop.
It's not a stoop. No, but what I showed you in the beginning was the proposed
Which is yours?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to.
I'm sorry.
This one is yours, your property.
The red.
Yeah, that I got.
In the photograph.
Oh, in the photograph, we're here,
Oh, so we can't see it.
right here.
So, at grade.
Yes, at grade. Historically, just to look back, the buildings were initially built around 1885. As you can see, all of them had stoop entrances, which were original to the construction. These are some lot photographs taken from 1921. Our building is actually now the combination of 207 and 209. In 1941, these buildings were converted, they were merged. These two stoops were demolished and they created a new entrance, which looks like this. Which looks a little bit more like a service entrance than anything. So our goal is to bring a more inviting entrance, more consistent with the block and the adjacent buildings in the collective. So what we'd like to do in a minimal way, you can see on the left the existing elevation, is to recreate the cornice and pilaster framing of the entrance, raise the entrance up, which we can do because I'll show you in a minute in the plan. The grade is about 3 foot lower than the interior first floor. So we'd like to raise the building entrance back up to the first floor level and have the more grand inviting entrance into the building. So existing condition right now is you have a couple double doors just off grade, steps up to a raised lobby, and what we'd like to do is add the steps, recess the entrance so that we can get a proper landing, stair landing, and not encroach over the property line more than 4 foot 6 inches. The adjacent properties have 5'1" and 4'11". We're trying to stay a little bit behind that to keep the encroachment as minimal as possible. As you can see in the more details, we're raising up the floor in the interior, we're recessing our entry for the steps. And this is essentially the before and the after.
How do you accommodate handicapped?
Good question. We don't, by code, we're not required to. There's a couple sections of the code that require that if you renovate the building beyond 50% or more of the value, you have to upgrade it, or if you change the use or occupancy, you're required to provide ADA access.
But if you totally rebuild a front entrance, you don't have to make it accessible?
You don't.
That's outrageous.
I mean, I will point out, it's not accessible currently, right?
Yeah.
There are
Okay,
stairs
I
on the
realize that.
interior.
I realize that you're 100% changing the entrance, and yet you don't have to make it accessible.
Yeah, you don't, there is not that requirement.
That's insane. All righty.
So, do you want to just go over
Oh,
materials?
sorry, yeah.
No, that's okay, it's okay, just one last slide. So what we're proposing are some simple concrete steps with a stucco kind of finish to them, consistent with the color of all the rest of the collective. The pilasters will also be a stucco, and then we're adding a fiberglass painted cornice on the top.
Is that consistent with what the other buildings have?
No, the other buildings have a much more pronounced overhanging entrances. Sorry.
Oh, I see.
You know, some of them are much more decorative than others. They're all different, which is kind of interesting in itself, but they're all much more structural, and they encroach much further past the property line. Current code only allows us to encroach 10 inches maximum, so which is why we're trying to keep it minimal. And structurally, it's more sound to not project further. So that's.
This is a confusing application. Because you are, it's interesting that actually the name of the project is called The Collective, which makes it even harder for me to be opposed to this project. But, so there's this notion that it's a group of buildings built at a reasonably similar period of time that have the aesthetic appearance of being, and from what you said, increasingly more sort of uniform, is rental, all good things. That the one inconsistency is this entrance as opposed to the others, hence your request for a stoop. And yet, there are some idiosyncrasies of the individual members of the collective. And so it makes it hard to decide, because, you know, when I look at that, one of the things that we think about, and you might have just sat through the previous iteration where we spoke about the public realm, and here would be an example of, while it may meet DOT's clearances and DOB's what have you, you are literally taking away public space. And is the public getting anything back for this? And I think the answer is no. So the knee-jerk response is to reject this proposal. On the other hand, I think that you are trying to make a collective, and so I'm really interested in my fellow commissioners' opinion.
I think that the public is getting something back, and that you've got a greater uniformity. That's not the word I'm looking for, but there's more harmony.
Harmony.
As you go down the block with this back. And I don't know that the public is really losing the block, because the right of way has already been limited by a series of other stoops and probably garbage containers.
Yeah, quite a few.
Yes, actually, that plan was fairly convincing to Mr. Moore's argument that shows this notch.
Right.
Where,
Oops.
no, it was a, yeah, right, because the public is not going to nip in to that little 4-foot setback.
And that became rather more persuasive to me than I thought to begin with.
I thought, I was,
Once I looked at that, now, it's true that the collective has also, the individual members of the collective have established, built steps of varying heights and design. The original collective, the block was stoops of the same,
All this,
which
yeah.
is what made the whole design as a block interesting, distinguished, and so on. So over the years, these steps have been modified, not always in a wonderful way, such as the one over here.
Yes.
Just one other question. If you were to do the steps, then will the residents enter directly at the plane of the lobby?
At the level of the
Because
lobby.
now what they do is go through the entrance and then go up steps
Yes.
inside.
Inside, which is relatively uncomfortable.
Right,
You go in and
Right.
you step and suddenly
right.
you have no distance to, you're coming in with shopping bags and things like that, and you're even trying to exit is very awkward.
And your decision has been to do the 3 or 4 steps, not like the steps that have been built and improvised over time, right?
Right, just to make one
One. Because
section
At
up.
this one here, they go into steps and then they go up again inside.
I'm not 100% sure what the level is of this building.
I like the one that's sort of the bridge over the, I think that's kind of
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, well, I think that, I'm guessing that the original stoops of these 2 buildings, because like I said, these were split, I believe that they had areaways under them as well. You can kind of see that from the historic photo, there's a lot going on there.
I think like the benefit for the public is that, I thought that was very observant to point out that right now it's like a service entrance and signifying it's a residence.
Yeah, it doesn't,
I think then you kind of understand the
celebrate the entrance into that building.
Do
In that way.
people go down into the basement from inside the lobby? Like, would you go down
Yeah, there,
that way? You see it there, that you can go underneath and gain entrance.
right,
But in yours,
you have
It has
to
to
go, yeah, you have to go.
and so it's always interior to get to the basement or cellar or whatever.
Yeah, and I think that, when on paper, it sounded like you were moving stairs from the inside to the outside. They were really only used by the residents, and so at first, it did seem like a subtraction from the public realm, but then taken in context, it's a much stronger proposal. The uniqueness of each entranceway, the fact that, but then this commonality that they have, I think it enhances the overall experience of walking down the street and walking past this row of buildings, the harmonization, it overall adds.
So, well, you performed a minor miracle here.
I have one.
Yes, ma'am.
Can we see your render one more time?
I'll go back to the first page. 'cause it's
So your final one,
I think
give us 2 seconds, the last slide. The only thing I would say to one of Sydney's comments is that there is space to make a ramp. Maybe ugly, there is space.
But if the apartments aren't handicap accessible, I mean, I still, now that I'm a grandmother, I'm a strong believer in ramps for strollers. That will take even more space out of the, but
Yeah, we're talking 50 feet.
that's a lot,
Sorry, excuse me, 30 feet. 30 feet, which is significant, yeah.
But I think so my last question then is, the materiality. So I kind of cringe a little when you talk about fiberglass. Do the other stoops have, are they stucco or are they?
They're stucco and I think a variation of sheet metal cornice. The reason fiberglass, we chose fiberglass, I haven't had a lot of historic experience, but I do know, just living in a co-op and having gone through having to replace a cornice in Park Slope, that the preference is fiberglass because
Yes, I do agree with that.
it's light, it's more waterproof, and it doesn't cause issues in all these other cornices in the city.
If people can't knock on it, they won't know.
Yeah.
It just feels unbelievably cheap. But I know that it is the right material. If you can't touch it. All right, so somebody has a choice of making a motion of,
Motion to approve.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
You did a major turn, congratulations.
Wait, you didn't get the other side. Not everybody voted yes.
Not everybody voted in favor?
I didn't think they did.
I did.
Oh, I didn't see everyone. I did.
Yes,
I didn't think everyone. I apologize, I didn't think everybody.
Yes, it was,
It's also good to start with, we're a small mom and pop shop, by the way.
so, anyway,
Okay,
congratulations.
thank you very much.
All right, so now our last act here is to approve the consent agenda. So we have items 25775 to 25802. So I would like you to just note the conditions of approval as have been recommended by various committees, as well as some of the comments that were made earlier today on this project. Are there any recusals that are not noted? No, let the record show there are no other recusals. And is any member of the public here to testify? No, then let the record show no one wishes to testify. Someone want to make a motion to approve the consent agenda? A second?
Second.
All in favor, make sure I can read those right, Nancy. Thank you, it is unanimous. And the meeting is adjourned.